I think, like you have like the match that they had and like it's a world title match and you have another world title match. I tend to think they don't go back to back like that. Usually they got to put something in between beforehand, but no, they pulled it off and yeah, they did this and then you had the main event that followed and it all turned out great. But so this would all start where Christian would become the world champion for the first time. That is in WWE, of course, not counting Christian Cage back in the TNA days. He'd do so by winning the title in a ladder match against Alberto Del Rio at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view back on May 1st of 2011. Following that victory, he would defend the World Heavyweight Championship for the first time as champion on the May 6th edition of SmackDown against Randy Orton. And lo and behold, Orton would actually defeat Christian and won the world title from him in just mere days after winning it for the first time. In storyline, he lost the championship after 5 days, but SmackDown back at that time was taped on Tuesdays along with NXT and some parts of Superstars. So in reality, he was actually the champion for only 2 days. So Christian, I know, that sounds terrible.
That sounds so terrible.
Especially after all that time. I get the point was like, he loses it so quickly and then like it just drives into where he's got to beat Orton and you have the heel turn and everything. So I understand that, but it's just like, man, after all that time and all that work, it's like he just loses it just like that. And keep in mind, he had won it just after Edge had to retire.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so Christian would receive his rematch against Orton at the May 22nd pay-per-view event Over the Limit, where Orton would successfully retain the title. Then following this on the June 3rd SmackDown, Christian would serve as a special guest referee for a World Heavyweight Championship match between Randy Orton and Sheamus. Orton would retain the title, but after the match would be struck in the head with the belt by Christian, which would turn Christian heel in the process. Christian would receive another opportunity to face Orton for the World Heavyweight title, this time at the Capital Punishment pay-per-view on June 19th, 2011, where we'd see Orton retain the world title. But this time, it was in controversial fashion, as Orton would pin Christian, but Christian's foot would be underneath the bottom rope, which was missed by the official, who would still count the 3. The next SmackDown, Christian would demand that SmackDown General Manager Teddy Long give him another title shot. Teddy would agree to give him another title match as long as he could defeat Kane one-on-one. Christian would lose that match against Kane by disqualification following outside interference from Mark Henry, but Long would then say that we're going to have ourselves a tag team match, as he'd famously do. It would be Christian and Mark Henry versus Kane and Randy Orton with a similar stipulation put in place. Mark Henry would pick up the win for the team by getting the pinfall on Randy, so Christian would get his match. But then the next week on SmackDown, Teddy Long would offer Mark Henry a deal where he would be added to the world title match at Money in the Bank if he could defeat Randy Orton, but Mark Henry would lose that match by countout following a distraction by Christian. On the July 8th edition of SmackDown, Christian would have his lawyers add a stipulation to the contract for the showdown of Money in the Bank between the two that if Randy Orton were to get disqualified, he would lose the World Heavyweight Championship to Christian, wiping out the champion's advantage for this match.
You got it. That's the backstory right there.
Yeah,
and
so
set up a great match that we're going to talk about here in a little bit.
Yeah, so that's the backstory for this event. Now it's time to get into the recap or the review, I guess you could say, for Rewind 24. But before we go any further into this, now joining us for this Rewind is Bryant, who,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Here to talk about the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. One of my favorite pay-per-views from 2011.
Uh-huh.
Probably my favorite from the decade, to be honest.
Yeah, no, we had discussed off air, that it very well could have been maybe pay-per-view of the decade. I guess I'd have to go back and just go through everything just to truly decide that. I mean, but yeah, it's really up there. Yeah, definitely better than anything. Definitely better than any of the other pay-per-views that year. I mean, nothing comes even remotely close.
Yeah.
But this would be Money in the Bank 2011. This was done by World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE. This was on July 17th of 2011 from the Allstate Arena in Vermont, which is in Chicago, Illinois. 14,815 would be the attendance figure. 195,000 was the buy rate, which is up 35,000 buys from the previous year. And Michael Cole, Jerry the King Lawler, and Booker T would be the commentators. And then the theme song would be the Money in the Bank song, the one that they still play to this day sometimes.
Does anybody want to sing that theme song for the people right now?
I don't know if they'd like my voice.
Money, 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 money.
Yeah, is that money?
Money, 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 money.
Yeah. I put you guys on the spot right there. I want to see who was paying attention.
Yeah. No, I remember that team.
Well, they played it so much, I don't know how you can't.
How did I know it was on July 17th? I never know the dates.
Well, that just shows you how much you like it.
Oh, it's because in the promo for the show, CM Punk goes, I'm leaving with the WWE title on July 17th. That's why.
There you go.
I also found it pretty cool that I wish I might go on eBay or whatnot, because the CM Punk shirts that they sold that night had the date on the back. It was the best in the world, the white T-shirt that he was so famously known for. And on the back, just in the bottom, it had that 7/17, 2011. And that I got to go see if I can find that somewhere.
Didn't it have... it had Chicago above it, too, on the back. It had Chicago, and then it had the date. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I do. I don't have that particular version, but I do have the CM Punk. I have that CM Punk Best in the World T-shirt still to this day.
Yeah, that was, man, he was white hot at that point.
Yeah.
Like, he was on fire in terms of being over. Like, it was ridiculous.
I know, he was the hottest thing in the business.
And then they had Triple H come in and beat him 2 months later. So.
Yeah. Well, I was there live for that one.
Spoilers.
Yeah, look at it. We won't talk about that, though.
Yeah. Maybe some other day.
Right. Yeah.
So before the show... Oh, sorry, you go.
No, I was going to say... Well, I completely forgot. I don't even remember what the first match on the card was, and I watched it a day ago.
Well, we're going to get to that. Beforehand, though, there was actually a preliminary match. Nobody saw this. It was a dark match. It's not even on the DVD. It was David Otunga and Michael McGillicuddy, who were actually the tag team champions, if you could believe that, versus Vladimir Kozlov and Santino Marella.
Ooh.
That's a way to get...
my God.
That's a way to get the crowd going.
Thank God we didn't have to watch that.
Could you imagine if that was the actual opener?
It's just so funny how you go from complete polar opposites in the same card. You've got CM Punk and John Cena, the two of the maybe 4 faces that you would put on this whole era. You know, this post-attitude period, this ruthless aggression. And you've got Vladimir Kozlov and Santino Marella versus David Otunga and McGillicuddy. What a... Wow.
That shows you how much their tag team division was.
I was going to say what you want about WWE, but their tag team division has gotten so much better.
Since then, for sure. Oh, my God. It was dead in 2011.
Like even today, you have the Usos, you have the New Day, you have... Who else do you have? You have
Miz and Morrison. Viking Raiders.
But,
Street Profits.
And we still complain that tag team wrestling doesn't get the credit that it deserves. But again, just 9 years ago, David Otunga and McGillicuddy. Wow. wow.
Tag team champions.
Yeah. So can we just skip over the dark match? We're not even going to discuss that. And I think
well, no one saw it anyways.
Let's get right into that Raw.
Was it SmackDown?
SmackDown.
It was the SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yeah, so to open the show, we'd have the opening video package, which just promoted the Punk and Cena match. Then for the opening contest, we'd have the SmackDown World Heavyweight Championship Money in the Bank ladder match. It would be Kane versus Daniel Bryan versus Wade Barrett, Cody Rhodes, Sheamus, Sin Cara, and Justin Gabriel.
Wasn't Heath Slater in there?
Yeah, Heath Slater was there.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, no, it's fine, but I remember because they had a spot where him and Justin Gabriel attacked Wade Barrett. It's funny because I think almost over half the people in this match aren't with the company anymore.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because Kane's there every once in a while. Wade Barrett's no longer there.
A special appearance.
Sheamus,
Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater.
So Sheamus and Daniel Bryan are the only 2 people there. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
That is.
A lot of talent there. A lot of talent.
I am still so upset how they completely wasted and didn't use Wade Barrett.
I am too.
I I think Wade Barrett was great. He had not only did he have the look, but he had the charisma. He really could have been a great heel.
Yeah, he's a good talker. He's a solid wrestler.
Yeah.
He had his spots in this match too, and it just made me want more. I was telling Cameron here that I wrote down reactions because I haven't visited this pay-per-view in forever. I just wrote down reactions when these guys came out, and right next to Wade Barrett's name, and it's just how good was Wade Barrett and how good was Nexus?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we should maybe show idea. Maybe we break down Nexus and then Wade Barrett.
That'd be great.
At that, but that'd be awesome.
Oh,
Nexus is Nexus is probably one of the most wasted opportunities in WWE history.
Oh, in the last decade, I think that may have been the biggest blown opportunity.
Even I remember Nexus's debut. It's one of the only times they went, I got to watch Raw next week. I got to see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
When Nexus came out and they attacked Cena and Punk and Gallows in the main event, and it was all of them, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
I know, because they tore up their whole ringside area.
Yeah, they destroyed it.
And then they beat up the announcers. They beat up Justin Roberts. They beat up, it was great.
Oh, let's make it a show. Let's make it a show and let's make that one happen.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking down the road we got to do a Nexus show now. There's so much to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. There is.
So I think for me, in this match, I think it's tough to say that the winner was the one who really got the spotlight. For me, just going back to it, just to see Daniel Bryan in 2011 before the injuries, before everything, man, he stole the freaking show there.
Yeah, he's always just been great. He's so good. I'll tell you, it was really weird though, and I got weirded out. I'm sitting there watching it, and he comes out, and he wasn't doing yes chants, and it kind of weirded me out.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he was just doing where he puts the finger up and he does the one, and he comes out. He didn't have his theme that he has now, but he was still awesome in the ring. Obviously, I mean, he's Daniel Bryan.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that was the thing because before coming to the WWE, obviously now that guy has tons of charisma and he is a very good talker. But when he was the American Dragon or Bryan Danielson rather, he was just known for just being just a great technical wrestler.
Yeah.
And he still is to this day, my God. I mean, I feel at times that guy could still be almost I mean, he is still, but I mean, I feel at times he's just he can almost be the best worker sometimes there is, just because he's just so, he just makes about everything he's in work.
Well, I think a great example of that is the series of matches he had with Punk, since we're going to talk about him later in the show, Punk. But those series of matches they had, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, were so good.
Oh God, yeah, those are definitely worth
with
revisiting.
AJ Lee as the ref around that time when they had that whole angle going. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, that's definitely worth revisiting as well. Even now, earlier in the year, when they had that strap match at the Fiend. I mean, God, that even turned out to be awfully good. I mean, he even made that work.
I couldn't believe when they turned Daniel Bryan heel. I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. And then he came out and he did the Earth thing and he had the wooden title.
The eco-friendly belt. I know.
He made this work.
I'm he's hitting this out of the park.
Yeah, he's so good.
He's brilliant. He's brilliant. Yeah, so, no, it was awesome seeing Daniel Bryan pick up this win here and winning Money in the Bank.
I believe he would go on to cash in on Big Show, right?
Yeah, he would at the TLC pay-per-view later in the year. Which, it was cool that he had won the world title, but I guess some people were kind of maybe bummed because he had said that he was going to cash in at WrestleMania. It was kind of weird that he would say that. It could be weird if he waited all the way till then and he actually did it and pulled it off. But it was still great that he did it.
Had to save that honor for the Monday Night Messiah.
Oh yeah, because he did that in the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was great that he had won it regardless. But even then, it's he had been one of the most unlikeliest world champions ever in WWE.
Yeah, I remember. I didn't think he was going to win this. I think going into this match, I'm pretty sure I thought Wade Barrett was going to win it,
or maybe Cody.
Yeah,
but definitely Wade Barrett.
To talk about Cody just for a second, Cody's had so many great characters.
He really has.
Even then, I loved this mask thing.
Mask Cody was, and that was the note that I wrote just to interject. There is Masked Cody was so good, and that's
exactly. Yeah.
It's all I have written next to Cody Rhodes' name.